Welcome. If you're in the market for a camera, you realize that the market is saturated with good cameras, and it makes it very difficult to pick one. For me, I found myself looking for a camera, and I could not decide which system to go with. I have used Sony before, and the one I'm recording with is the Sony ZV-1. So I needed a camera with interchangeable lens, and that's why I was comparing the Fujifilm X-T4 versus the Sony a7C. The camera that I really wanted to buy was the Sony a7S III, but that camera is $3,500 without the lens. So it was a little bit too expensive for what I do. So I wanted to wait and buy the a7C when it comes out. But in the meantime, I started looking for other systems like Canon and Fuji to see what they offer. But in the end, I ended up picking the X-T4. And here are some reasons why I picked the X-T4 over the a7C. The a7C is a very good camera. If I were to do it again, I don't know if I'll pick the X-T4. It was very close between the two. But what won me over and brought me to the Fujifilm is because of the menu system. I think the menu on the X-T4 on the Fujifilm is much easier than the Sony. It's a little bit more user-friendly. The second reason is the film simulation. Basically, you can make your images or videos look a little bit different straight from the camera, and it makes it a little bit easier for color grading, especially for a beginner videographer and photographer like me. I think Fujifilm is a little bit easier system to understand and use. The other reason is you get two card slots. So you can put two SD cards on here, and one can be backup, or you can shoot JPEG, and the other one can shoot RAW, and you have both there. So it's very good to have backup, especially if you're doing a professional work. The other one is the a7C does not shoot 60 frames per second in 4K. This one you can shoot both 30 frames per second in 4K and also 60 frames per second in 4K. You cannot do that with the a7C. Another reason I chose the X-T4 is because the marketing team with the Fujifilm is very good. The customer service is excellent, I would say. Once I registered the camera, they told me if I have any issues with it, to contact them first before I can go back to the store where I bought this camera. And also, every week, as a beginner, they send me lessons, free lessons on photography. I think that's a valuable lesson, and it has helped me become a better photographer. And that's something I did not get with Sony. And also, the usability of this is very easy to understand because you have the dials here. You can see what your ISO does. You can see the shutter speed and the aperture, and even the manual focus is right here. So you don't have to go back into the menu and go through a book of menus just to control your aperture or your shutter speed. So these dials makes them very easy. With the ZV-1, this Sony, it's kind of difficult to do manual focus. You actually have to set memory on one of these buttons, and you have to remember which one you set it to, so you can go to manual focus. Otherwise, you have to go back to the screen and find the manual focus. With this one, it's right here. So as a beginner, I wanted something very simple. I don't have to go back into the menu because that kind of discouraged me to shoot more videos or images. So whenever I go out to shoot, I always know that even if I don't understand the menu completely, I have a lot of control out here, and it makes it very easy for me to just shoot and adjust on the fly without going back to the menu system. So that's why I picked the X-T4. So if you are looking for a full frame camera, I would say go for the a7C, because they cost about the same amount of money. They are both $2,000. So, and that include the lens. So this one was around $2,100 with the lens. The a7C is almost the same price, about $2,200, but you get a full frame, which is a little bit better for low light shooting. And this one, the X-T4, is not a full frame, it's crop sensor, or the APS-C. Also, full frame lenses might be a little bit more pricier. When it comes to shooting 30 frames per second in 4K, this one is limited to 30 minutes. I don't know why they did this, but they should be gone. It should not be a feature on this type of a camera at this price point. So if you really want a fun camera, simple to shoot, with everything within your fingertips, I would really consider the Fujifilm X-T4. You get great images and image stabilization on the lens and in the body itself. You can go along with this camera for around $2,000. It's a little pricey, I understand, but if you're comparing the a7C versus the Fujifilm X-T4, I'll go with this because it's more fun as a beginner. So thank you very much for watching. Those are the reasons why I picked the Fujifilm X-T4 over the Sony a7C. It was mostly because of the Fuji colors, the film simulation, the usability. I think this is very user-friendly. I can do 60 frames per second in 4K, and I have dual card slots. And although I don't have a headphone jack, it does come with this USB to a mic jack over here, where I can monitor my audio. A7C does come with the headphone jack, but you don't get the SD card, the second SD card, which can be a deal breaker for some people. So good luck picking the right camera for you. They're at $2,000. There are a bunch of cameras that do very well. Even at $1,000, they do very well. But the reason you might pick the a7C is the full frame, and the autofocus might be a little bit better than this, and you don't get the record limits. So thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next video.